All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get started. So again, the first color that we're gonna go ahead and do is the sky color. We're gonna pretty much put our sky on the painting. On the original painting, the sky is just a little bit thinner. So if you wanna make it thinner to have more space over here in the bottom, that's up to you. But I wanted to go ahead and get a good coverage of both the sky and what we're working with down here. So the color that I made was a teal color actually, with a lot of white. That's actually how I spread it. So I'm gonna start off with my big brush, my big round brush, and I'm gonna take some blue, and then a little bit of yellow, and I'm gonna mix a lot of white with it, like a lot of white. So if it looks too baby blue or too green, you just have to add the opposite color. So for baby blue, just add a little bit more yellow. And for green, if it looks too green, just add more blue to it. You want it right in the middle, that teal color, but you also want to make it light. So add more white if it's too dark. Add more white. So now it's like a pastel teal. There we go. All right, you guys, so again, we started off with a teal color. So you want to go ahead and do blue with just a little bit of yellow and add a lot of white to it so it can get to this lighter shade. And now after that, you're gonna load your brush. And what I like to do is do like X's. So I want to do X's all over the area that I want my sky to be in, but I'm also gonna pick up white and start doing X's as well. And again, you can make this area, shorter or wider, however you want. I'm probably just gonna cover a little bit less than what I did over here, just a little bit. So again, you guys, do X's, do crisscross strokes. You wanna keep them very small, very short. You want to do crisscross strokes all around. And again, I pick up more white and I do those crisscross strokes on top of it. And if you see, it changes the color on there. So some areas are lighter than the others, and that's exactly what we want. We don't want this one solid color in the sky. We want some texture, some different colors going up there. And let's say that you have an area where it looks just too dark, just go ahead and blend it out with white. So all I'm using again is the teal color and white. And I'm doing crisscross strokes. And that also helps with the blending. So once you have the area I'm gonna try to make the left side a little bit just more straight. Just because over here in this area, we only have the orange and then we just have a tree kind of coming out. So we want to have this, this area nice and covered. All right. After that, I'm just gonna wash my brush and we're gonna move on to that burlap color. So again, you guys, if you see, there's different colors going in there. You can see some lighter teals. You can see darker teals, the original color that I used. So again, just crisscross strokes. And that's actually how we're gonna add our burlap on there as well. Everybody good on the sky? We're gonna move on to this very complicated color. So we're gonna make orange first. And that's yellow with some red. I try to put not as much red. I don't want it too strong. So if it looks too strong, like blood orange or red orange, just take it down with some more yellow. Because you want an orange color. So once you have orange, you're gonna mix a little bit of black, just a little bit, with the orange, and that's gonna turn into a brown. So again, it's just a little bit of black. You don't wanna overwhelm it with black because then it's just gonna turn black. Just a little bit of black and it turns brown. So again, because we want more of a lighter brown, after I do this black with my orange, I'm gonna add just a little bit more yellow. Since the yellow was already in there, what the yellow does, instead of using white to lighten it, the yellow's gonna lighten it. I'm not gonna use yellow to lighten it completely, but I wanna use enough yellow to lighten this color to where it's not as dark anymore. All right, so I have a nice light brown color. After that, now that's when I add my white. So I'm gonna add white, and I know this is gonna be a very light color, so I start with a lot of white. And then if I need more white, if it's too dark, I'm just gonna add a little bit more white at a time. So like right now, it's just a little too dark. This is the color I'm going for right here. So it's just a little too dark. So I'm gonna keep adding more white to it. Actually, this color looks pretty good already. I might add just a hint, and like when I say a hint, it's like 3 hairs and some air of red. It's just a little bit more white. There we go. So again, you want a very, very light brown. You don't want this brown to overpower anything. This is just our base color. So you want it very, very light. All right, I think I have my color. So once you have your color, again, load your brush. And you're gonna do the same thing that we did for the blue. We're gonna do crisscross strokes. I would be very careful over here on the left side, again, just because this area, it's only the building and the sky, you know? So we wanna make sure that some of our brown doesn't pass to the sky. But after that, again, crisscross strokes. Crisscross strokes. This one you can dilute with white to make it lighter. But since it's already light, you don't have to dilute it with white. You can always just use water to move the paint around. If it's just a little too hard to move around, just use some water in your brush. And again, this side, I don't really care. I am gonna start making the shape of the little house. So I made a little triangle on the edge. And then I'm gonna pull the line straight. And again, crisscross strokes, you guys. It doesn't matter if it touches up here. Be very, very loose with it. We're gonna cover all this stuff with greens and blues and all that stuff. So in the end, what this color does is it gives it more, something more to look at. Instead of just having, you know, those brush strokes on top of white. That would look kind of weird. It would definitely complete the painting. Without this step, it wouldn't look as good. Because again, we can see this color throughout the entire painting. So you want to fill that whole area on the bottom with this burlap color. So essentially what we're trying to do is replicate the material that Van Gogh used to like to paint on. That's all we're doing with this color. So that's why I make a good amount on my plate. And after that, I'm gonna let my painting completely dry. We don't wanna mix this color with anything, we just want it on the bottom. So again, we're gonna let this completely dry. We're gonna let the blue dry. And that way we can start shaping this whole piece. So again, if y'all see, you guys, I still don't really have that much shapes going on.
My color keeps turning gray instead of beige. How do you get it more beige instead of gray?
Okay, what was your process? How did you start?
I did the white and then added the red yellow mixture. It was mostly red and then a little bit blue. And it just all turned gray.
Yeah, no, yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and start you off again. So you want to make an orange that is actually not as much red. You want more yellow than red. So go ahead and make yourself an orange. You still want it orange, not a light orange, but you still want it orange, not a lot of red though.
Okay.
So after that, once you have your orange, you're gonna mix the orange with a little bit of black. And you don't need a whole lot of black for it to change into a dark brown. So again, it's just a little bit of black. You should have more orange than black, like way more orange than black, in order for it to turn into a dark brown. Again, you want to use a little bit. Black is very powerful. So then after that, you want to add some yellow to that dark brown, which is going to lighten it. Because we already have black, we don't want to mix white directly with it. It's going to turn everything gray and all that stuff. So we want to add some yellow to it. And what that yellow does is that it lightens the color up without actually, changing it so much. And then once you have the yellow on there, it's going to turn into like this darker brown color. And then that's when I started mixing it with white. So does that help you, Allison?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, cool, cool, cool.
I'm not done yet.
And again, you guys, we're gonna let this dry so we can move on. So again, you guys, we're just waiting for this to dry.
What was the material that Van Gogh painted on that brown replicates? Is it burlap or something?
Yes, it was like a, you know those rice bags? Those bags that come in or those bags that rice come in? They're
Yeah.
like brown. Could one use a fan to, of course, yes. If you have a fan or anything like that, that's a good question, Beth. Yeah, if you have a blow dryer, you can use it to help you dry. I'm kind of just letting mine dry so everybody can catch up with me. Tanisha, were you showing me your piece? Oh, okay. Let me go ahead and see that real quick. Oh, okay. If anything, if you can make that color just a little bit lighter, the brown that you have, just add more white to that and you'll be good. There we go. There's some light. Awesome. But yes, you guys. Yeah, I know. I paint a little faster than everybody else, but that's why I like to give everybody some time for it to, you know, catch up and all that good stuff. Excuse me. I'm telling you guys, it's hot over here. All right. All right, you guys. So again, even if it looks just a little wet, let it dry completely. Mine is still has some wet spots in here, so I'm still kind of letting it dry. No, I'm not sick. I'm not sick. It's just because of the humidity that's going on in my room right now. I don't have the AC on. just have a fan, and it's pretty hot. But thank you. No, I am not sick. I do want to talk about the next step though, as it's drying. So if y'all see in this painting, there's a lot of orange going on. So there's orange to do the wall, there's orange to do the house, barn thing, there's orange to start our trees, there's orange to actually start the path, and then we have some orange over here. Excuse me. Then we have some more like orange dots in the middle. There's a couple of orange dots over here and here. Then we have a couple over here. So there's a lot of orange going on. And what I want to start off with is actually getting that orange in there so we can kind of know where everything's going to go. So the orange I'm going to make, again, it's a very basic orange. I don't want it too dark or too light. So if you want to go ahead and mix your orange as we're waiting for this to dry, you can. What I would recommend is using more yellow than red. Again, you don't want an orange that's too more on the red side. You want an orange right in the middle. Not too light, not too dark. Like how the orange fruit would look like. Or like how papaya looks like. Feel like papaya? The reason why I say that is because I have papaya. But y'all see that orange right here? That's the orange I'm talking about. This is too light. This right here in the corner, that's too light. So you want to use an orange that's more on the darker side. If you have a cadmium orange, should I use that? Whoa, that's a nice orange. Honestly, Don, if you feel more comfortable using the cadmium orange, I say yes, because honestly, you know, you don't want to make a little bit of orange and then have to keep remixing it. So this is why when I tell people, you know, make a good batch for yourself, so you don't have to keep remixing this color. But if you want to, you can always use that cadmium orange. That sounds like a really nice orange, because I know cadmium yellow, it's more darker than the chrome yellow we use. So that'll be nice. Again, you don't want it too dark, but if you like that orange, you can always use it. Oh, nice, Tanisha. You're showing me your workstation? I'll show you my workstation. It's pretty simple. This is my studio in the house. Yes, it looks amazing, Tanisha. It looks good. No, I would show you guys my studio, but I'm not. I can show you my paintings that are up here, but if anybody likes the Munsters, it's Herman Munster. And you can't really see the color that good, but it's got some purples and all kinds of different colors in there. All right, so is everybody good? Can we move on with the orange? All right. So again, we want to go ahead and make this orange with more yellow than red. And I'm using my small brush because I'm going to use my small brush for this orange. I might use my my medium brush for the house, but other than that, I'm going to use my small brush. So what I like to do is start off with a lot of yellow and then add my red very gradually. And that way I can control the hue of the color. So like this is a pretty good orange for me. Love the airplane day, night one. Oh, thank you. It's actually a heart-shaped canvas. And I would be down to like teach this painting. This one was a fun painting for me. I just used masking tape for it. But thank you, Beth. Oh, and it's hung backwards. All right. So again, the orange, I want it right in the middle. I don't want it too dark. I don't want it too light. Right in the middle. That good Halloween orange. All right. So once I have my orange, again, I'm gonna use my small brush and I'm gonna load this brush as well. And we're gonna start with this wall and we're gonna work our way back and then our way down. All right, so for this wall, what you wanna do is just do two lines that are really close together and they go in an angle. So you want it to like kind of go down, but this space right here in the middle, I'm not gonna cover this with orange. So I'm actually gonna do these two walls separately. So again, I'm gonna reach all the way to the top where that beige color, burlap color meets the blue. And I'm gonna make my first line. And then I'm gonna make a second line really close to it. I still wanna show that beige color on the bottom, I mean in between, but it doesn't really have to be too straight or too perfect. We're definitely not looking for perfection in this painting. We're actually looking for technique and making sure that we use our brush in the correct way. Because again, Van Gogh did have a technique that people do study. Why do the lines tilt down? Because it looks at an angle. So if you see over here, we have all this stuff angled. It's not in a straight line. So it's angled. If you want to make yours straight, you can make yours straight, you know. I'm just going based off on the painting. All right. So let's go ahead and go to the other side over here. And we're gonna outline that triangle that we had made with the beige color. And see, if you make a mistake like I just did, you can always just take a little bit of water And take your paper towel or cloth and just wipe it before it dries. There we go. So I'm gonna do the triangle. And again, I want to keep it sort of level to where this orange kind of left off. I don't want to go too far away from it. Now from there, we can keep continuing with our wall. So I'm gonna make the line for the wall, which is the same line for the triangle. I'm just gonna continue it down till I reach the end of the canvas. And again, I'm not looking for straight lines. I'm looking for that color really. Once I get my first line, I'm gonna go ahead and do a second line, but this time, this one's gonna go a little thicker. So it gets thicker as you come out. Again, because it's at an angle, so that's why this looks smaller and this looks thicker. So this is the orange and black mix. No, this is the orange, just regular orange. So I use more yellow with red to make this orange. Again, you want to add the red very gradually. You don't want to make it too red. So I did the line at the top of the building. And you know what? I am gonna take my medium brush. So with my medium brush, I'm gonna load it with orange. And I'll just do these lines from the house. Again, they're at an angle. So you want the angle to point towards the right side. You want it to come down towards the right side. And fit however many lines you can until you reach the end of the canvas or paper. And now let's go ahead and complete the wall over here on the bottom. So again, I'm just gonna bring it a little bit more down and I'm gonna angle this line to fit this top one up here too. So again, however big you want your wall to be, just go ahead and add that space. I just wanted it at an angle. Let's also go ahead and add the basic tree shapes that we have right here, kind of towards the middle on the upper side. So this is gonna be the wall over here, and we're gonna have a couple of orange trees just coming out right here. So again, I'm using my small brush with the orange, and I'm just making a couple of lines for trees. And again, I want to be very loose with my brush strokes. I don't really want to think about it too much. Before we move on to all the other stuff over here, I want to finish this wall. So it has circles on here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and make a couple of circles of orange. They don't have to be, you know, two together, or you don't have to do the whole thing, the whole wall. Just go ahead and add a couple, and we'll go ahead and finish our wall once we get to that part. But as of right now, that's all we're doing to this wall. So again, just a couple of circles. And if y'all see my circles, they're not all the same. They're not perfect. These are supposed to represent stones in the end. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and move on. All over here. There we go. So we'll move on. Now we want to go ahead and start making the shape of the path and these areas over here. We're not going to completely be done with the orange. So again, if you have one of those water sprays, it's good to have that handy so like your orange doesn't dry up. But if your orange does dry up, you know, you can always just make some more. But it's good to have one of those water spray things. All right, so let's go ahead and start making the path. So very simple. You don't want the path to be too close to the wall. So you want to have a good space between the wall and the path. Again, depending on how big your canvas is, you're gonna, you know, make that decision yourself. But I try to keep a good amount of space between my wall. Now my wall, because again, I don't want to make the line over here in the bottom. There's going to be all sorts of colors over here in the bottom, and I don't really want to cover them with, or I don't want the orange to be in the bottom over here. I just want the orange to be over here. If y'all see that right there. So again, I want to go ahead and leave this space for all these little things going on between the wall and the path. So I actually start my path in the corner of my canvas, and I'm gonna go in a curve. So I'm gonna kind of like dip it like this. And the strokes that I do, and this is important, you guys, you don't want to do a straight line. They're actually very, very small strokes. They don't have to be the same at all. They don't have to be the same, but you want to make sure that they are nice and separated. You know, you have some space between these strokes. And again, you want to make them go in a curve. So if y'all see, that's where I started my path, and I'm gonna curve this. It's kind of gonna go like a little roller coaster. but you want spaces in between your, so this is the orange that we've been working with. You want spaces in between your strokes. Same thing on this one. Since the path is going to be looking farther from where it starts than where it finished, I'm going to do this closer. I'm going to start it closer to the strokes I did, and then I'm going to widen it out once I get more towards the bottom. So if y'all see that, my path in the bottom is nice and wide, and over here in the top, it is thin. And again, you can do these strokes in whatever size. It doesn't matter the size. You definitely don't want to push the entire brush on there. You know what I mean? You don't want to push the entire brush. You want to just do a little nick, and there you go. You know what I mean? Kind of just, as soon as you touch the canvas, lift your brush. And that's how you'll get those little strokes. And now on this side, I'm gonna go ahead and I'll start also shaping this area. So I'm gonna leave one space without orange, and then I'm gonna do a line with strokes of orange. So if y'all see that right here, and then I'm gonna leave another space, and I'm gonna do another line with strokes of orange. So we're separating this area. And then so on and so forth until I reach to the bottom. All right, y'all. This is mine. Oh, I see it. That looks awesome. Great job. Awesome, awesome. All right, y'all. So if we are ready to move on, let's just go ahead and load our brush with more orange. And now we're gonna move on to this top part over here. So again, we have our wall over here, and then we have this space between the path and the wall. So let's go ahead and split that space up already. So I wanna go ahead and, again, leave this space alone. This is where my wall is gonna be. So I wanna leave it alone. And right underneath it, I'm gonna start doing dots. And big dots, small dots, whatever dots. They don't have to be the same, but I'm gonna do these dots in this area right here. I don't wanna do too many. I just wanna keep it very thin. I don't wanna spread out too far. So again, I'm keeping it thin, but I'm moving them around, and I'm moving them closer to the trees over here. And it's okay if they get really close. It's totally okay. Like this, you can have that like that, where it gets really, really close. That's totally okay. And again, you want these dots kind of everywhere in that little space. You don't want them to look uniformed. What I mean by uniformed is one like straight line, you know? You don't want them to look like that. Kind of just have them everywhere. But you want them in this little space. All right. So after we're done with that, we're gonna go ahead and move on to this bottom part. So right where our trees are at over here, we have this big bush. It's like with dark greens and blues and orange and stuff like that. So we have this bush right here. So you want to make this bush already, start making the indications of it. So same thing, I'm gonna make dots, but this time I'm gonna keep my dots a little closer to each other. So I kind of want them to stick in one bulge. Maybe I'll do another bulge over here. But I want them to be nice and together. They're still dots. They're still dots, but they're not as separated as the first dots. And I know we're probably like, oh my God, what are we doing? We probably screwed up this time, but no worries, guys. It's just all a process. Honestly, that's how I was feeling about this one, but then came out looking pretty decent. So I'm not too mad about it. All right, you guys, so let's move on with some more dots. So if y'all see right here, right after the bush, there's like this long path of this like turquoise color and light blues and orange and dark blues and stuff like that. So right here, this area, we're gonna also fill with orange. If it helps, you can always take another brush, like a small brush, and dip it in your blue. What you're gonna do with this blue is actually make the tree. So we have a couple of trees going on, and there's this one tree right here. So what you can do to not get too confused of where these dots are supposed to end and go and all that stuff, what you can do, this tree is literally right next to the orange trees. So just go ahead and give yourself a little space and make your tree. I added just a couple of branches in there, but not too crazy. So again, this is just regular blue. Regular blue. In the bottom, I try to make it into a little triangle shape. But again, I don't really care too much just because this area is gonna get covered of colors. So now we're back to my orange. And again, right where this bush ends, that's where I have this like path. Have a space right in between, you know, this orange tree and the blue tree. Have a space. Might make my blue tree just a little bit thicker in the bottom. There we go. And now again, I'm gonna keep doing dots, but I want them underneath the blue tree. I want them underneath the blue tree. And that they're not exactly touching the wall. So they're not exactly touching the wall up here. So go ahead and leave a space up here. Again, I did my line with my dots underneath the blue tree, and I'm gonna go ahead and fill in like a shape like this. You'll see that shape right there. It's whiter on the bottom and it gets thinner on the top. Again, this is all about perspective and angles and stuff like that. And after you have your shape, then that's when you can fill it in with orange. You want to do just some dots, and until it's full, you're good to go. Again, this orange is helping us make the shape of the painting. So by the time we go over with all of our other colors, that's when we'll really start seeing it. But you can actually kind of see it right now. And again, nothing that you put on here is permanent. You can always change it. All right, we just have a little bit more orange and then we'll go ahead and move on. So the last area that we're adding some dots is actually closer to the wall. It's up here. So you want it closer to the wall, but you don't want to go all the way down. You kind of want to keep it like halfway. So like maybe like up to here. You don't want to go all the way down. And again, you guys, no dot is perfect. We want those imperfections today. And I might just curve this a little bit just so we can have, you know, that shape in there. So I curved this little area just a little bit. I gave it just a little baby curve. You'll see that right there. So again, it's starting to shape my piece. And I don't want to go all the way down, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it off right there. And we're done with our orange for right now, but we'll probably come back to it later on. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and wash my brushes real quick. All right, let's move on. Let's do an easy color. We have our medium brush. And we're gonna use yellow, just regular yellow. And this is with our medium brush. And I'm not adding too much because I'm just gonna do this one little area. It's actually this tree. So what I do is I kind of just let my brush do different strokes in here. So like I don't want it to blend or anything like that. I kind of just want this color in the base and the bottom, but I'm gonna do the shape of like a circle, kind of like a circle. I'm gonna go a little bit on top of the building. So it's gonna cover it a little bit. Just that corner area. And again, this is just with plain yellow. And you can make your tree as big as you want it. But again, I'm keeping my brush strokes very, very loose. And I'm gonna let that yellow dry before I move on. All right, you guys, so these brush strokes that we did to make the path, that's pretty much how we're gonna make the grass, all the green over here, the trees, especially the trees, and this little bottom area right here. So again, these brush strokes is what we're looking for, short brush strokes. And they don't have to be the same. They don't have to be the same at all. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and mix a light green. We wanna start off with a light green, close to yellow, but not really. So I'm using my small brush. And I'm gonna take a lot of yellow with just a little bit of blue. Just a little bit of blue and a lot of yellow to make a light green. If it's not light enough, just add more yellow to it. And there's different greens in this painting. So again, you want to do a very light green. Like this, very light. Again, if you feel like it's too dark, just add more yellow to it. I used barely any blue to make the green, but I still added a little bit more yellow to lighten mine up. So again, you want to use a very light green, like an avocado or something. Once you have the light green, we're going to move on to making these shapes over here in the bottom. So right where this orange is in between this area, this little area in between, that's where we're going to start doing our strokes. It's actually okay if you get it somewhere close to that orange. So like I got a little bit of that green close to that orange. That's fine. But I'm gonna go ahead and start doing those brush strokes, going down. And again, I'm just adding this for my base, but I wanna keep those brush strokes. I wanna make short brush strokes. They could be touching each other, but you don't want too much space in between, not too much. You can have some space, but not too much. And I'm gonna continue until I go up, but I'm also gonna widen this in the bottom. So I'm gonna make it smaller in the top and then widen it in the bottom. Right, so the green that we are using is a light green. So just mix a lot of yellow with hardly any blue. And it should turn into a light green. It looks kind of like the yellow that we used up here because of the color in the back, that beige color. You also want to go around these orange dots in the bottom and add a little bit of that light green as well. I mixed some white too. Oh, okay. You don't have to mix white in it, but if you want to, you definitely can. It's all up to you. So again, you guys just add a little bit more of that light green towards the bottom of these orange dots. And then we're gonna add it for the trees. And this bottom area right by the trees. So again, leave some spaces in between, but you don't have to leave too much space. But we do want to see those strokes. And you can do them, you know, sideways, up and down. It doesn't really matter what direction you do the strokes, especially if they're just covering, you know, color. If you're doing grass, then yeah, it kind of does matter a little bit, your strokes, but not too much. So like, for example, right here, I have strokes going horizontal that are supposed to be grass. And I don't know if y'all could see that, but right here, these strokes right here are horizontal, and then I have some vertical ones, you know? So it doesn't really matter where or how. All right, so I'm moving this light green close to that bush again, but on the top side now. So this whole top side right here, it's got that light green. And again, I'm also gonna use it for the orange trees. And I'm gonna use it right in between the trees. It's gonna go around the tree stem or branch. And this one's kind of a small tree, so you want to keep the green, you know, in this little small space. Because the trees in the back then show off. And then you also have this blue tree kind of overpowering it as well with the leaves and whatnot. All right. You can also use some of this green. Make like a little baby patch right here. Just like a little baby patch of green. And again, you can do your strokes in whichever direction. Right here, I did them horizontal. And then over here, I did them vertical. Over here, I kind of just did whatever, because it's just covering the space, as well as over here. Strokes or dots? Strokes. So they're very, very small strokes. Again, that's why the direction does matter. Like right here for the grass, I did up and down strokes. And then for over here, I did horizontal strokes. Up here, since I'm just covering this area and the green, the darker green is gonna overpower, I don't really care about my strokes for the light green. But yeah, these are strokes. These are no longer dots. All right. So once we're done with the light green, we're gonna go ahead and add a little bit more blue to make it darker. And now we're working our way up the green ladder, and we're gonna make our green darker and darker and darker by just mixing more blue to it. So start little by little. If you have, you know, different colors of green already, that's cool. You know, you can use those. Like I have, oh man, I have this awesome green. I'm gonna show you guys. It's actually a lighter green than what I'm using now. And it is called Permanent Green Light. This is a really cool acrylic color. It's a Winstor & Newton. It's one of those fancy ones. But again, if you have like colors like this that are already ready, you can use this. All right, so now we made a slightly darker green by just mixing a little bit of blue to it. And with that slightly darker green, we're gonna go ahead and finish off these trees over here. So again, just a couple of strokes on top of it. You don't wanna completely cover the green that's underneath that. You just wanna go ahead and highlight those little leaves. So I'm adding just a couple over here in the bottom to complete the tree, but I wanna leave this area alone. So again, it's just a couple to complete the tree, but I'm leaving the rest of that area alone. And again, these are strokes. Now I'm gonna go ahead and make this green more darker. And now it looks like a regular green. Doesn't look too dark, doesn't look too light. Looks like a regular green. With my regular green, I wanna go ahead and start doing the leaves for the tree up here. So this tree up here, I'm gonna go ahead and just do very long, broad strokes for this tree. And I'll add some dots later onto it. But it's gonna be my tree up here. Again, I don't wanna completely cover the light green, or I mean the yellow that we used up there. And I'm also gonna use this green to make a couple of dots over here in this area. So right where that orange is at, I'll make just a couple of these green dots in between the orange dots that I have. Again, it doesn't take a lot. Definitely do not, you know, do strokes. You want to do dots for this green over here on this side. So I feel like I need more orange, so I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit more. And I'm gonna continue with my dots. I don't wanna do this whole orange dot area too with green. I just wanna keep that dark green or regular green on this side, on this edge. Again, this is with our regular green now. It's not too dark, not too light. Actually, I forgot a little area of light green. So if you still have light green, go ahead and use it. I did forget this little baby area. It doesn't really matter if you don't do this. So if you want to skip this little part, that's fine. But I did just miss this little light green area over here. And it's so tiny, you can't even tell the difference if you added there or not. But it's right on top of that tree, right where that orange was lined up. So let's take our regular green and do a couple of strokes going down along with the orange over here. And then you want to do like little patches of grass coming up from the curve over here. So I do like vertical lines, and I'll do like sets of 3 and stuff for the patches. And now we're gonna put this green aside. We can still use this green, but we wanna go ahead and move on to some other colors before we get bored of green. Let's make teal, everybody. If you want, you can use this green and add some more blue to it. And then after that, go ahead and add some white to it. If it's still looking too green, just go ahead and add more blue. and it'll turn into a pretty teal color. You don't want it too light like the teal that we have in our sky. So make sure you don't make it too light when you're adding that white. Over these orange dots that are right close to the border, that's where I added those green dots. So again, they're very tiny, very tiny. All right, now with this teal color, we want to go ahead and start making, again, some shapes over here on this side. And we want to finish off some dots over here as well as over here. So that's where most of our oranges, that's where we're going to make our teal dots. Over here, we have more of those strokes. And for example, right here on the corner, I have like this aloe vera looking plant on the edge. But I'm gonna wait for that one plant because I still have to add the white in the background, and I'm not gonna do that till later on. So again, save yourself some of this color for later on. With this teal color, you do want to do strokes in between the orange and the green. You want to have some strokes going on up here, closer to the edge of the wall. You can also have them in between. And again, I'm doing like vertical. So I start from the bottom and then I pull my brush up to get that like leaf, or I mean grass look. Over here where the orange meets the blue tree, I'm gonna go ahead and do dots of this teal color right in between the orange dots. And the more you fill it up with the orange and the teal color, the more it looks like, you know, stuff's going on in there. So again, go in those nooks and crannies where you left from your orange, go in between those and add dots of teal. And the point is that, again, you want to make it look full. You don't want to make it look like it still has spaces in between. Over here on this side where we have these dots in the end, we're going to do the same thing that we did for the first lines of teal, which are strokes. So again, just stroking it up over here in the orange. still want to leave spaces, but not too many. I want this to also look fuller. How do we get the teal again? So the teal is just, if you still have some green, just go ahead and mix more blue with it and then add white to it. So if you still have some green, go ahead and mix some more blue with it and add white to it after. And it should give you a teal color. If it looks too blue, after you add the white, just add yellow to it. And it should turn into a teal color. Please say again how you are doing, what you are doing. Which one, the teal color for all the steps, Mary? I mean, Beth?
The patch on the far right side underneath the,
This patch right here?
yeah.
It's the same thing that we did up here. So we did strokes going up so they could look like grass.
Okay,
And that's it.
what
So
color?
I did it in between the orange dots in there. I still want spaces, but not too much.
I can't tell which ones are teal also. Did you put it in front of the wall and then in front of the tree? It's all
Right,
kind of.
so I have the teal color over here. I did it just a little bit with the strokes. I have dots of teal over here in the middle. And then again, strokes and the end over here as well.
On the end, not in the middle of it?
No, so the middle is actually just dots and the two sides are strokes. And again, that's the teal color. We did all those three with the teal color. And you want to stop the teal where the orange stops. You don't want to go farther than that. You can also add the teal color though on the edge of this light green. So if you add in the edge of this light green, it'll start adding some more shape into our painting. All right, so once we have that color, move on to something a little easier. We'll move on with red. So this is just plain red. And with the red, we're gonna go ahead and keep going with our path. So the same way that we did our path with the orange, we're gonna add just a little bit more color to it with the red. All right, y'all, so again, just small strokes. And I do like maybe 3 or 4, maybe 3 or 2. Going down, so there's not just one stroke, it's a couple of strokes going down. And again, they could be different sizes. But again, I am just gonna cut it off right there where my green ends. And I'm gonna finish this little corner off with that light green as well. If you have any light green, that's great. If not, just go ahead and make yourself some light green so you can finish that little corner off. We are gonna be using light green again. So that's why I say, you know, make yourself a good batch of all your colors. What I did is I took my regular green, I made some teal with it, and then I took some of that corner and I made light green. So you can actually see a difference right there. The colors. So again, the color that I did just now was the red, and it follows the path. So it follows the path. I can do a couple of dots over here of red on this little corner. A couple of dots of red. And then I could do a couple of dots over here on this corner where the orange and the teal is already. And the red is just gonna fill up that space more. So I don't wanna do it all the way where all the orange is. I kinda just wanna keep it in the bottom. Now, since I already have red in my brush, what I can do is take some of that orange and make like a dark, a red orange, and then we can add our dots up here. So the dots up here can be a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. They can even come out of the tree a little bit like this. You don't want to really overwhelm that area with a lot of dots of red.
Are those like
Here.
apples?
I'm sorry?
Are those apples or flowers?
Yeah, they could be apples, they could be flowers. It's your painting, your masterpiece, so you decide what you want over there. But yeah, I believe those are apples. The garden that he painted this from, it's a really, really pretty garden, and they have all kinds of stuff going on there. So more than likely it could be All right, so let's go ahead and get rid of that red in our brush. There's a couple other more spots with red, but I want to go ahead and add those other colors in there first before we add that red. All right. Just adding more light green in some areas. Okay. Let's go ahead and make lavender. If you still have red in your brush, that's cool. You can use that to make lavender. So to make lavender, it's just making purple by mixing red and blue, and then taking some white to it. And it's gonna turn into this very light purple or lavender color. So again, the color that we are doing is a lavender. It's just red, blue, and white. I add a lot of white to it so it's nice and light. And now again, strokes, and I want to do all these little areas with lavender. So all these little areas, I want to do them with lavender, and they're strokes. So again, you guys, try not to make them too uniform. You know, have some of them going sideways, have some of them big and some of them small. Don't cover your red, you know, don't cover any of the paint that you already have on your canvas or paper. Just go in between it. All right, you guys, so again, I only added the lavender to this left bottom corner. I did it in strokes. Again, I don't want to completely cover all the red that I have over here. Just did it right on top of it, or I mean, in between it. Once we are done with the lavender, we want to go ahead and move on with, let's do an important color. Let's do this dark green. We have a dark green over here, and we have it, you know, in different areas. This is actually a different green, but we have it like in these little areas, these little nooks and crannies. It's just a little bit of that dark green. We are also going to use that dark green to turn it into this color, which is like a not as dark green, but it's a darker green. All right, so to make dark green, you could use a mixture of just yellow, and black. Yellow and black tend to make a really, really pretty green. You need a lot of yellow of it though, because sometimes the black will overpower it and just make it into a brown. So look at that, yellow and green Made this beautiful green that actually can fit with this green that I was talking about right here. Perfect. Right, so again, load my brush. And now this wall has like little holes in it. And then has like a little window. So what I'm gonna do is just make the shape of those holes with this green. I wanna do like a half of a circle shape. So I'm gonna go like this, and then I'm gonna do another one over here, and then another one over here. I'll do another one. And again, these are just strokes, you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill this up once I do the shape. So they're like half circles. I have 3, but if you can only fit 2, that's fine too. All right, let's use that same green to continue this side of the path. And you just want little area of this green. You don't want too much of it. So I do like 1 stroke of this green going down. And you can use some of this green as well for this top area right here, right where that orange and blue, and teal dot area. You can add this little green right here, just on the edge, right where that tree meets that area. So this green right here. Just yellow and black for the green? Yes. So if you use just a little bit of black with yellow, it'll turn it into this green. It's not your regular green, it's a little darker. And again, you can add it over here to the end, this side of the path, closest to the edge. You can make the circles, the half circles over here. The green looks weird and slimy. Oh, I don't know about slimy, but it shouldn't look like a regular green. It should look like a, I don't want to say this, but like a throw up green. It should look like a really ugly green. If you see it by itself, you know, like right here on my plate, it doesn't look very pretty. But once I add it on here, it looks way better. But so yeah, I don't know about the slimy part. Maybe you need to mix your paint before you pour it. I don't know. Sometimes paint can separate. So you know, you just give it a little shake and your paint will be mixed, and it'll fix that sliminess. Because again, that shouldn't happen with acrylic unless it's separated already. My husband said he can make that throw up green. Yep, it's pretty easy. It's just yellow and black. It gives you a really, really pretty green that you can't make with just blue and yellow. Right, I'm gonna wash my brush from that green stuff. And I'm gonna go to my medium brush and I wanna wash it really good because I'm actually gonna use white. It's gray. How do I fix that? Your yellow and black is gray. It shouldn't be gray. And the reason why is because we're not using any white. So if your brush isn't clean, go ahead and just clean your brush and then mix it again. But start with the yellow and then move on to a little bit of black. So just a little bit of black. Mine almost turned brown. Tanisha, is that for the green? Because if it almost turned brown, all you need to do is add more yellow. So yeah, all you need to do is add more yellow. All right, y'all. So we are almost there. Again, we're taking our medium brush now with white. And now with the white, we're gonna go ahead and cover our wall area. So I'm just gonna try to get this wall. I don't wanna cover any of the colors I already added. I'm gonna be very careful. If you feel more comfortable using the small brush to do this, you can do that. But again, I'm just going around it. If you see, I'm leaving some of that brown color, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm leaving some of that brown color behind. I just want to make sure that this white is on the wall already. So by the time we start layering our trees and all that stuff, the white's already dry. I'm also going to add the white on this other wall. And when I add it on this other wall, I do want to go right where that tree's at. I do want to cover this area. And I want to go in between the circles as well. So I'm gonna do that with my small brush and get the bigger stuff with my medium brush. I'll move on to my small brush so I can get all these little nooks and crannies. The white is just for the wall, you guys. The white is just for the wall. You can also do this border for the wall with white. There is some white on the path as well, but we'll do that later. Again, this class is gonna go on just a little longer because we're trying to cram in a whole month's work into one class. So this class will be going on a little longer than usual.
Is that how long it took Van Gogh to paint it? A month?
Yes, it took him about a month to paint this painting.
That's cool.
Yeah, some painters take years to finish paintings, but this one, for example, just took 1 month. It's still a long time, but you know, he had different size canvas, and he has way more detail. I actually just tried to do, you know, the most basic way I could do, so it could be teachable and everybody can follow along and all that good stuff. But if y'all see the original painting, you know, there's way more colors that you can use to fill in, you know, spaces and stuff. But I'm giving everybody a good amount of colors to work with. That way, you know, it doesn't look plain or boring. And right here in my example, looks kind of like the Van Gogh, you know. It doesn't look exactly like Van Gogh, but it definitely's got that Van Gogh feel to it. So that's what we're going for, you know. We're not going for perfection. We're going for technique. Again, I want to add this white in between the circles. You can cover some of the orange if you want, you know. It doesn't have to be too powerful of orange. We just did the circles with the orange, so it's easier to, you know, go ahead and cover once we have all our colors and stuff. All right, so once you're done, did he work all day? I have no idea. You know, some artists work in spaces, and some artists like to, you know, work all day. So I really have no idea about that, Tanisha. I just know that it took him about a month to complete this painting. All right, so as we're letting that white dry, let's go ahead and move on and finish this bottom part. And then we'll move on to these trees over here on top. If anybody is still working on their white, just go ahead and give me a thumbs up. All right, so a couple people still working on their white. Sounds good. No worries. All right, looks like everybody's ready. Oh, okay, you guys. So let's move on with our greens. Now, again, we're gonna be using a variety of green. So if you have all your greens together, it helps if you mix them all together. So like the teal, the light green, the regular green, it helps to mix them all together to make a different green. But if you don't have all your greens together, just go ahead and make yourself another green, but this time make it really, really dark. So what I'm doing, I mixed all my colors together and then I added more blue. So I want to make this green really, really dark. So nice dark green. All right, so now with my dark green, I want to go ahead and start making this bush over here. So the bush, again, it's like super, everything is super congested in one little area. So you want to do dots. And you can make the shape of your bush with the green. You don't want to completely cover all the orange dots, but you want to have a good amount of this area right here for this bush. It's a big bush. And you want it to get close to that path. So right on the edge of that path, that's where that bush finishes. And this is with our dark green. We also have some dark green over here on this edge where we added some teal. Let's just add some darker green on top of this area right here. And I also want to add this dark green on top right here where the wall meets the garden. I want to leave a little baby patch right here for golden yellow that we're going to use. Like more like a yellow ochre. But I want to leave a little patch for that yellow ochre color. If your white is already dry, what you can do is use this dark green to start making the leaves on this tree. So again, make those strokes. I make them nice and thick this time. Tree. And I want to leave the space in between all these little areas. I want to kind of leave that space in there. I want to make sure that you can still see behind the tree. But I want to make this tree nice and big. And again, this is still with our dark green. I went over a little bit of the wall. I'm gonna go over a little bit in the corner of that house, but it's okay. And again, you don't have to completely cover the brown color that we have in the bottom. You can leave some spaces. You can even leave some of that brown up here, you know what I mean? So you don't have to completely cover that brown with your leaves. You can leave some spaces if you like. You can also go on top of this other tree just a little bit. You can go on top of it and finish that shape of the tree. I'm gonna add yellow to my dark green after I'm done to make it into a lighter green again, or I mean, regular green. And I'm gonna start doing the leaves that are coming out from this little area. So there's some strokes going on inside. There's some strokes going on inside. But we have leaves that are kind of like flopping out of the path. These little guys right here. So if you see, they're just like a little. So I lift my brush, and then I pull it at an angle. That way I can get all these little shapes and stuff. Again, these are like little loose leaves or plants or whatever. But I want to make sure they're coming out of the path, just like this. I just saw that my wall actually needs to be stretched out a little bit. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna stretch out my wall. So this area right here, I need to just make it a little longer. Now I'll do the rest of that with white. There we go. All right. So the white should be dry by now. Let's go into this corner over here where we have the wall. Thank you very much. My apologies, but I must sign off. Good night and happy painting. Cheers. Thank you so much, Don. Again, this class did go a little longer than they usually do, but that's just because of all the details that are going on. But again, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you in the next class. All right, you guys, so let's take our regular blue, and this is with our small brush. And now we want to go ahead and do a line right underneath the orange line that we have for our wall. We want to do a line right underneath it. Then we'll take some more blue, and on the left edge of these half circles, you want to do like a little curve of blue. It's just on the left edge of the circle. So you don't want to do the complete circle. There's also like a line going through right here, and that's with blue. we can also even add a blue tree in this little corner right here. So the way I make the trees, I just do the brush strokes, the same ones that we've been doing. I do them close to a center, and then I get thinner and thinner as I go up. And that's just regular blue. Also with my regular blue, I can start adding some different different grass patterns in the bottom over here where my blue tree is, where that dark green and the blue tree is. And I can add some leaves on this tree as well with the same blue, just regular blue. So again, this is the regular blue. Add some more leaves on this tree. I can also take some of this blue and add dots on top of the dark green that I have over here for my bush. I can do a couple of dots. And I can even pull those dots over here to this orange green scenario that we have, orange teal scenario that we have over here. Pull that over here. I can also add dots over here on this green patch. We're gonna start adding some blues in this area. There is a dark blue that we'll just use our regular blue for. And then we'll make a dark blue after. Just a couple of dots, that little area. I'm making my teal again. Remember you guys, I said something about an aloe vera plant close to the wall, but I wanted to put my white back in there. So if you have teal, that's great. If you don't, again, it's just green with some white and add a little bit of blue to it if you already have green. If you don't have green, just make yourself more blue than yellow and then add white to it. So more blue than yellow and then add white to it if you don't have a teal. So okay, again, our aloe vera plant is over here on this little corner. And I just do strokes in the middle, and then I pull my brush up. That's how I do my aloe vera plant. All right, y'all. So if you also have teal, what you can do is also start adding some of those aloe vera plants down here in the bottom. All right, let's go back to blue. So let's make a light blue this time. All right, so this is gonna be my, and I'm actually gonna add a little bit more blue to it. But there we go. I'm gonna use this color, which is a blue right in between light blue and the regular blue. I did add some white to it, but I added blue again just because I don't want it to be too light. We're gonna work our way down into that light color. We wanna use this blue first, and we're gonna do like strokes again on this green patch area in between the orange dots. So again, we don't want to cover the light green entirely in the bottom. We just want some of these strokes in here of this blue. And again, it's right in between a baby blue and a medium blue. It's not too light, not too dark. It's in the lighter side though. It's definitely in the lighter side. If y'all notice, we've been going a lot of back and forth with these colors. It's all just about layering them correctly. I added more white to that blue I just used to make a lighter blue. And now I'm gonna go ahead and add this light blue on top right here where this tree meets the orange. Just right on top, not too much of it. And then right here as well where the orange and teal meet on this side. So once you have the light blue on there, you can go back to your regular blue. So with your regular blue, we're gonna go ahead and finish off our trees. Now your trees can come out and again, whichever direction you feel more comfortable with, but I start by just doing a couple of lines and I make them smaller and smaller as they go up. And I don't want to completely cover that brown color in the bottom. And these trees are behind this green tree. So try not to go over your green tree right there. The strokes that I'm doing are the same strokes I've been doing for the grass and all that stuff. I'm just changing the direction of it. I can even make a tree go behind the wall if I want. could take that same blue, mix it with some black. Now we have a really dark blue, and we can go over our tree to just define it a little bit. Also do that to this tree over here on the side. And now after you've made that blue, we're gonna go back to a regular blue with just a little bit of white. So this blue is really gonna be in between a medium blue and our regular blue. And now this little patch right here, this little area, that's where we're gonna use that blue. So you can still do strokes, or like how I have it on here, I kind of just went, like if I was scribbling, like if I was scribbling stuff, or if I was like signing a prescription, you know, gibberish, kind of just wiggle your brush, lift your brush and wiggle your brush. That's how I added the blue over here. Again, no particular order. And that's that regular blue. All right, y'all, last time we used teal. You still have teal? Go ahead and use your medium brush. And again, you want it a flat white brush, so you can just do one stroke and get it done. We're gonna get our window in here. So there's a little window in this little area. And it's just a little square. You can put it in between the half circles over here, or you can put it on top of one. It doesn't really matter. Then you take your brush with blue, your small brush with blue, and just outline it. So outline your window. All right, so we just have a couple more colors to go, and we'll call this a painting. All right, so let's get down to this color right here that we are still missing, and it also goes down here and right here. So the color that we're gonna make is the same color that we started off with. It's kind of that burlap color, but it's a little darker. So again, yellow, red, make some orange. Now you want to go ahead and add a little bit of black to that. It's going to make brown. Now once it turns brown, I'm going to add a lot of yellow. A lot of yellow. And this is actually good enough. But I want it just a little lighter, so I'm gonna add some white to this. I don't want it too light, but I definitely want it lighter than this. Awesome. This is exactly the color I want. It's like a dirty yellow, you know? It's very dirty. It's got those hints of like greenish in there. You can always add more yellow to it, but that looks good enough to me. And you can some more white on the side to see just how it would look. That looks like a good color. But the reason why I don't want to add white is because I want this color to be transparent. So once I add white to it, it's going to turn more opaque, and we want a really translucent color. All right, so again, same thing, add these little strokes right here in this little area. You have this area. You have that color over here on this area where the blue has that scribble stuff. All right, John, just a couple more things and we are good to go. So let's make another green, some yellow, some blue. If it's a dark green, just go ahead and add more white to it. You want it right in between, not too dark, not too light. And we're gonna start doing some aloe vera plants over here with this color. Once you are done with that, you can take some red and add it on top of the aloe vera plants, going around it. You could take regular yellow and do dots in here in this area to fill in those little gaps. And now to make the brick on this wall, we're gonna use blue, but we're gonna use a lot of water for it, so it could be nice and washed out. So again, the bricks on this wall, they're gonna be blue. But it's a nice washed out blue. That way when we add it on the canvas, it's not as dark and as powerful. So I added a lot of water to my blue to make it like watercolor. And I'm just gonna do circles again. Some together, some not. Doesn't really matter. Some can not even be circles, you know what I mean? Whatever you like. And again, there is no wrong or right way to do this painting. Just as long as you recognize some techniques and work that into your own paintings. All right, so the last thing that we're gonna do, or two things that we're gonna do, is add the white to our path. But just like how we washed the blue right now, we're gonna wash the white. So we wanna mix white with water and run your brush through the path. You don't want it to be white, but you do want some you know, white in there. So if you want, what you can always do is run water first and then put paint on your brush, and then you can run your brush on there with the water and all that good stuff. All right, so I'm gonna stop closer to the edge. And then over here on the bottom, I have like a peach color going on. So all you need to do to make peach is yellow, red, and you want it more towards the orange side, like a lighter orange, and then add white to that. It's gonna make this peach color. So this peach color is gonna come down this path the same way. Kind of do like zigzags. Zigzag it out. All right, so with that washed out blue, what you can do is mix a little bit of white with it, and it's gonna turn into this really pretty blue. And you could just do dots over here on the bottom with this blue. Do some dots. You can finish more dots over here, you know, have it nice and thick of blue. There we go. And y'all can have any of this stuff, you know, anywhere. But again, this is just a very basic way to make this painting. The only thing I'm gonna go back over here is with my dark green. And I'm gonna finish adding some of those on top of that yellow that we put on there. Or that dirty yellow, you know what I mean? All right, y'all, and I call this painting done. So I know a couple of y'all are still working, but if you want to go ahead and show off your painting, just put it on the camera and I'll spotlight you. So thank you so much, you guys, for joining us in our kind of long class. Ooh, I think Tanisha wants to show us. So let's go ahead and spotlight Tanisha. Oh, wow, look at that. That looks awesome. That looks so cool, Tanisha. I really love how you did your wall. You know, you have those big bricks on there. Your path is so noticeable. It looks like a really pretty garden from here. It looks like a garden from Mexico or something. Looks really pretty. So thank you so much, Tanisha. I hope you had fun today.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and give Lana a try over here. Oh, wow. Look at that. Can you move it up just a little bit? So I can see the bottom?
Yeah.
There we go. Awesome. Look at that. Yeah, that's awesome. That is so cool. I really like also how you did your bricks. You didn't do just circles. You did, you know, different shapes and all that stuff. All your colors have, you know, mixed well, especially in this little area where you see all the flowers and stuff right there in that portion for yours, and the sky. Look at that sky. It looks like clouds and stuff like that. That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and give Marilyn a shot over here. So Marilyn, hey, how you doing?
Fine.
Oh,
Here's my
wow, look
picture.
at that. That looks awesome. And is that on paper?
Thank you.
Is your painting on a piece of paper?
It's canvas paper. It's very thin.
Awesome. That's awesome. Can you put that closer to the camera? Look at all those details, you guys. Look at all those details. That is so awesome. That is so awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It was fun.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Alrighty, let's go ahead and give somebody else a shot over here. Beth, are you ready? Are you still working? Oh, you ready? All right, let's go ahead and see. If you want to pull it up.
Still working
There
on
we
it.
go. Awesome. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's awesome. Look at that. And your wall is a little bit bigger than my wall, but look at that. That's so pretty. You added your aloe vera plant, your little bush, and your aloe vera plants over here on the bottom. That's cute. That's awesome.
Still working on it a bit, but there it is for now.
Yeah, again, this painting, you could take a lot of time with it.
Like a month. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you so much again, Beth, for joining our class.
Thanks for having the class.
All right, let's go ahead and give Anika. Hey, Anika. Wow, look at that. That looks great. You can always add more dark colors on top of those greens that you have to give your trees more volume. So for example, this blue tree that you have, it looks like it's kind of combining with the colors in the back. So all you need to do is just add a really dark color, and you can even use your regular blue and add it on top of this tree, and it'll give the tree more volume. But other than that, it looks really, really good. I like it. Thank you so much. All right. Does anybody else want to go ahead and show off their painting? Let's go ahead and see. So again, thank you so much, everybody, everyone for joining our class.
Mine's not finished. I can show you where it's at.
Yeah, show us, Allison.
Let's see if I can turn my camera around. My hands are all covered with paint. There we go.
Yes, we want to see.
Can you see?
All right, give me 1 second. There we go. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna spotlight you.
So I still have a lot of work to do on the wall.
Oh wow, look at that. That's awesome. I like how all your colors are in there too. You know, you could see all the light greens, all the oranges, all the lavender. You can see that tree really good too. Your house, you know, all those colors, they work really well on your piece.
My tree got smeared into the wall and I had to wipe it away and redo the wall entirely. So that's why it's so plain. I have to redo it because the tree turned to green.
Oh, okay. Well, if anything, what you can do for your tree is instead of just adding green, but I see hints of blue on the tree as well. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's some blue
Yeah,
in
there
there.
we go. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, wow, look at that texture, you guys. That's some nice texture.
I
That's
mostly
awesome.
spent time on the garden part because I like to garden. So I did a lot of texture in there.
Right, yeah, you added way more colors in there. And again, that's awesome. I like that. And hopefully this does remind you, you know, of a really pretty garden. Maybe it inspires you to paint your own garden.
Yeah, so I'm going to add clouds and stones after it dries a little bit more. Thank
Nice,
you,
nice,
Kat.
nice. Thank you so much again for joining us. Guys, very beautiful paintings everybody has made. I do appreciate every one of y'all for coming and joining us. If y'all need the camera up for 5 more minutes to look at my painting, y'all can. I'll be turning off the meeting in 5 minutes. But again, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for another class. It's always fun to have y'all. The Iris's painting video is not online yet. No, it's not. And the reason why is just because it's been taking forever to actually change the file from those videos so we can upload them. But we're getting them up there as soon as we can fix that. So again, thank you so much for your patience, you guys. Thank you so much for, you know, sitting with me for almost 3 hours or 4 hours. I'm not even sure anymore. But yes, thank you so much, you guys. Mary, again, I'll upload everybody once all those videos are posted on Facebook. But it's just taking a little time for them to be converted into the files that we need.
Yeah, I agree with Mary. It was definitely worth the longer class. It was a really great class.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. Oh, yeah, no worries, Beth. Yeah, no worries. So again, I'll let you guys know when all those classes are up on there. But again, thank you so much. This class will be up for Facebook as soon as we can get that in there. But again, thank you. Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good night. Stay safe. And I'll be closing this out in 5 minutes if anybody still needs the reference. But other than that, you can always leave the meeting whenever you please. And again, happy painting. Our hands, well, actually, my hands are not dirty at all. But my palette looks like this, so my painting can look like that. So again, you guys. Oh, look, Tanisha's showing us her hands. Awesome. So yeah, you guys, you know, we get dirty for a reason, just so we can have a very beautiful product at the end. And yeah, thank you so much. Y'all have a good night. again, thank you so much, you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and end the meeting, but y'all have a good night, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.